Hello everyone, welcome back to the next video. In this video I will show you how to create a control center widget for iOS in Expo React Native application. So let's get started. So basically what we will do is we will be tracking the user's tea intake or coffee intake during the day, and our app will have one button as well as one label as a text element, and once you click on the button, every single time the value will get updated. Now the value will be stored inside user defaults. For that we will have to write native code. User defaults is used to store key value data. Some of you might be wondering why we are not using async storage, why to write unnecessary native code. Now the problem with async storage is I don't know what it uses behind the scenes for storing key value data, whether it is user defaults or not. And even if it uses user defaults, the problem is we can't really call async storage from our control center widget. So for control center, there is no library as such, and everything has to be written natively in Swift and Swift UI. So that's where the problem comes from. So that's why for our app we will be storing the count inside user defaults with the native code. Then we'll close our app completely, create a control center widget. It will have a button. Every time you click on the button, the value get updated and stored inside user defaults. So hopefully you got the point. Let's see how to do this. So first, if you want to create an Expo React Native project, you can just go to this particular URL, and with the so I will be using this blank TypeScript template. Feel free to use whatever you feel like. So to create a project using this blank TypeScript template, we just have to copy this particular command. We just have to cd to your workspace directory and paste this command. Now I'm using this blank TypeScript template because it has less boilerplate code and it also has TypeScript support by default. That's why. Next we'll have to give our app some name. I'll just give it as my app. Next it will create the project for us. So I'll just open this project inside VS Code. So this is my project. I'll just open it over here. Now if you see over here, it does not have the iOS folder created for us. We need to create that iOS folder because we need to write native code, and later on we also need to create control center widget. That's why we require that iOS folder. Now to create the iOS folder, you will have to go to this particular URL which I will show you. So just go to this URL, and over here you will first have to select iOS device. Here you will have to select development build. I have disabled EAS because I will be building my app locally. I don't want to build it on EAS. Then I have already installed Xcode. I have already installed Xcode command line tools. If you haven't done so, you can follow all the steps. I have already installed Watchman as well. Then we have to run this particular command. So I'll just copy this command. I will cd to my app, and then I'll paste this command. Now it will again install some few dependencies for us. So let it do its thing. Once that is done, we have to copy this particular command. So this will actually create the iOS folder for us. So let's just wait. Okay, so now this is done. I'll just paste it over here. Now this will install a lot of Cocoa Pods and all that stuff, so it will take a little bit of time. But if you see over here, it has already created the iOS folder for us. Now let's just wait for this particular command to finish. Once it is done, I'll come back again. Alright guys, so the Cocoa Pod installation is done. Now it is asking me to run it on my simulator. I don't want to run it now because we have not written any code as such. So I will just do Control C. We will be running it later on. Then we also need to create an iOS module. For that, you can, if you want, you can go to this particular URL and just read this particular documentation. But basically we just have to copy this command and paste it over here. Now again this will ask us for few questions. I'll just press enter. I'll keep everything as default. So I'll just press enter. If you want, you can change the name as well. Then we also again need to run this pod installation command because we have created this native module, so it needs the pod installation step again. This will take a little bit of time, so just be patient. Now the next thing what I will do is I will write some code, basic code. I will explain it to you. Basic code of creating a button and text and implementing that on the native side, but the control center widget I will show you inside the video. So I'll quickly write all the code and come back. Alright guys, so I have written down the basic code. So firstly what you will have to do is go to modules, my module, go to src, go to my module.ts, and here I have created two methods. So these methods are present by default. This might change in the future as well. So I have just added these two methods. One is to save the value and second one is to get the value, and both of this will return back number. Okay, once you add these two methods, just go to your app.tsx, and here I have added this text as well as touchable opacity as well as use effect and use state from React, and we are also importing our module. I have created this use state just to save whatever is the latest count, and inside use effect I am getting the value. So if the user has already set some value and they are reopening the app for the second, third or subsequent amount of time, we want to fetch the value immediately, right? So that's why I'm using set value over here. I'm getting the value from our module and setting it to our value state, and on the button click I'm doing is that I'm just doing my module.save value. Now you might be wondering, how will the save value know what is the current value? So that particular logic has been written in the native code, so don't worry about this. So we don't need to pass any key or value from that. And here I have just created one method, this text element for our button called update, and I have created another text element which will basically display whatever is the current value inside user defaults. Next, what you will have to do is you will have to go to your iOS folder over here and double click on this .exe workspace inside, and it will automatically open it inside Xcode. Now once Xcode is open, you will have to go to your app. So I will just go to my app, and here now I am not really sure what is the minimum deployment target for this control center widget. I think it is iOS 18 because this was introduced in WWDC 24. But if you want, you can try it for lower versions. I'll just change this to iOS 18.0, which is fine according to me. Okay, I'll change it over here as well. Once that is done, next thing, go to sign in and capabilities. I'll just select my team, and here I will give it some bundle identifier. So com dot my nobody. Again, I'm just giving it some random thing, but do remember this name because we will be using this name in lot other places. Then you will have to click on this plus capability. Here we have to click app groups, and then we'll have to click on this plus button, and here we just have to paste our bundle identifier. Now copy this entire thing because we need to use this entire thing inside our code as well. Just click on OK. Once that is done, come back to Xcode. Now it is provisioning it, let it take its time. We can come back to Xcode, go to the iOS folder, go to my module.swift, and here you can see this is again boilerplate code which is present by default. All I have done is that after this view ends, I have created our function called get value. So the method name is the same what we have defined it inside our TypeScript file, and here we are basically getting hold of our user defaults. Now here we'll have to paste that particular value which we have copied, so something like this. Then we get the stored value inside our user defaults. Now we'll have to define this key as well, so I will define this key, user defaults key, later on, and whatever is the current value, we just return the value. If we are not able to find it, we return back 0. Now to save the value, again we get hold of our user defaults. Again we'll have to replace this thing with our own app group, and once that is done, whatever is the current value, we get that current value, we update it by 1, and then save it back to user defaults and return the new value, else we return 0. So because of this logic, I don't need to pass the value from React Native side. So hopefully you got the point. Next we need to define this user defaults key as well. So I'll just go at the top. Now you can name it whatever you feel like. I'll just name it as let user defaults key equal to a stored number. Now do remember this name because we'll have to use this name in control center widget as well, but you can use whatever you feel like. Next you will again have to go to Xcode. You will have to click on file, new, target, and here you will have to search for widget. Click on widget extension, click next, and here you can name it whatever you feel like. I'll just name it as my Expo app widget. You can give it a better name like a coffee intake or whatever is your app name. And here you will have to select this include control as well as include configuration app intent. So these two are necessary. Make sure you check both of this and then just click on finish. You can uncheck the include live activity, that is not necessary. Then here you will have to click on activate. Then again come back to your app over here, go to sign in and capabilities, click on your widget which has just been created. Click on plus capability. Again, search for app group. I'll enter our app group. I'll click on this plus button. Again, I'll paste the same thing, not this one, the other one. It is over here. I'll just paste the same thing which we used it for our own app. So I'll just paste the same thing over here. I'll click on OK. Now some of you might be wondering, if you have a little bit knowledge of native iOS, you might be wondering why we are not using user defaults dot standard, why we are using this suite name. This is because we need to access this user default from control center widget as well. That's why we have to use suite name. We can't use user defaults dot standard. Okay, so this is done. Next, here you can see this is our widget. First you will have to go to this my Expo app widget control. Now here we again have, like I told you, we have to write Swift UI. Also I will change this back to our own app. Now inside over here you can't use any Swift UI widget. At least at the time of me recording, there are only two types of widgets supported, either control widget toggle or control widget button. So we want to use control widget button, so I can just comment this out. Here you can name it whatever you feel like, tea intake or whatever, coffee intake. And here also you can change it, app to track tea intake. Okay, once that this is done, this also you can comment this out. This is not really necessary because we have commented out this control widget toggle. Now here we will have to add control widget button. Now I will just cheat a little bit. I will go back to my native iOS project and I'll just copy some code and then I'll explain it to you. This one and this one, I'll just open these files. Okay, so firstly we'll have to copy this control widget button. I'll just copy this and I'll come back over here and I'll paste it over here. So firstly, as you can see, we need to get hold of our user defaults as well. So for that I'll just again scroll up. I'll just copy these two things. I'll scroll up over here and I'll paste it over here. So firstly we need to get hold of our user defaults. So again, this is not the suite name for us, right? So what was our suite name? Our suite name was this group.com.mynobody.myexpo. So I'll just paste that over here. And what was our user defaults key? It was stored number. So I think that matches, but anyways, just to be on the safer side, I paste it again. So we have got our user defaults as well as user defaults key. Then here you can see, I'll just improve the indentation a little bit. So here you can see that here is our button and here we get whole value from our user defaults. If you are not able to find the value, we get 0 back and we just display it inside our text element. And here is our image as well. Then here on click of the button, we are calling we need to create a file called increment intent. We can't normal have a press listener or a click listener. That's not how things work inside a widget. So for this we can just create a new file. Again, create this file from Xcode, do not create it from VS Code. So just right click, new empty file, and name it as increment intent. Again, I'll just copy this from this particular code. Okay, now I'll just close this. I'll paste it over here. So basically we have to create this increment intent which extends from app intent. You can give this title to whatever you feel like. Again, the user defaults key is important, so the same thing what we have defined over here. So according to me it is the same. So but just to be on safer side, I'll paste it again. Now this suite name again will change. So this method will automatically get called whenever you click on the button, and this method is overridden from this app intent. So again, we'll just have to change this particular part. So I'll just copy this and I'll paste it over here. And here we get value from our user defaults. Whatever is the value, we just update it by 1 and we set it inside our user defaults. Okay, so yeah, that's it. Hopefully that should be it. Now I'll run the application again. This will take a little bit of time. So I don't think I have forgot anything. So I'll just run the application and show you guys the output. In case if there is any error, I'll show you that error as well. But yeah, let me run the application now. Alright guys, so here is the output. Now even I have not tested the output. Hopefully it works. So here you can see I have the update button. I'll just click on this button and the value doesn't seem to increment. Okay, let's see, because we are just calling save value, we are not calling get value. Okay, so I'll just change this particular bit of logic because the problem is we don't need to call get value. We just need to do something like this. We can do set value, right? And here I will just add this particular bit of thing. So hopefully this works. Yeah, here you can see value is 4. Now if I update it, the value is incrementing. So I'll just move, so the value is now 10. Okay, so this is working fine. Now what I'll do is, my app is in background, it is not completely closed, so I'll just move it. Do remember this, because there is one not issue, but one thing which I have not handled properly. Now I'll just move this down. So this is our control center. Click on the plus button at the left hand top, and here you will have to click on add a control. Here you can see this is my app, so I have just named our app as my app. So here is the t intake option, so I'll just click on it, and before you click anywhere else, you can just drag this as well. So here you can see we are able to see number of t intake as 10. Now I can click anywhere. Now I'll click on this button. So here you can see value is updated to 11. I'll click on this button again, value updated to 12. Click on this 13, 14, 15. Okay, now like I mentioned, our app is in background, right? So if I just open our app, the value is still 10, but if I click on this update button, here you can see value directly jump to 16. The reason it was 10 is because we only call this get value inside use effect. There must be another lifecycle event where you might check on this, where we can track how if the user went from background to foreground, and inside that you can call this particular thing as well, and that particular issue will get resolved. I don't want to go into that, but hopefully you got the point. Also, if we update it over here, now the value is not updated inside our widget. I will make a separate tutorial about that, because even I don't know. So the value was 18, right? But here it is still showing 15, but if I click on it, the value jumps to 19. So hopefully, so it is working. It's just that we need to reload the widget if we are incrementing the counter from our app. I'll try to check how to do that and get back to you. But for now, yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. Bye.